What is going on, guys? First off, thank you for checking out this video. Your attention and your viewership means everything to me. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to our channel. We'll be releasing a lot more videos around technology and small businesses in the next coming bit, and hopefully increase the frequency. The goal by the end of 2019 is to have the workflow set up so that we're releasing a video a day. That's my personal goal. So I am super excited to share this interview with you because in 2017 I spent most of my time working in the tech startup space, and there's so many cool things that are happening in this city that just no one's talking about and no one knows about. Whether that's AI job search or putting tickets on the blockchain. Those are just the first couple things that I think of. Or a new way to get payday loans. Adabotics doing robotic. Like, there's just, like, Adabotics gets a lot of PR. So, anyways. There's a lot of really cool things that are happening in this city. And I was fortunate enough to sit down with a friend of mine, Matt Wright, who is the founder of MAMMOTH XR. And they play a lot within the VR and AR space. And I'll let him explain a little bit more about what they do. But you're going to learn a little bit about the emerging technologies that are happening in this city, some of the cool stuff that they're doing, and why culture has been a pillar part of their strategy. I think Seth Godin said this, where culture is so important today that culture has become a strategy. So check out the video. Again, let me know your thoughts, and if you haven't already, it'd mean the world to me if you hit that subscribe button down below. So I'll let you guys get to it. So what's going on, guys? My name's Alan. I'm here with Matt from MAMMOTH XR. Thank you for coming on. Really appreciate the time. And for those of you who don't know, or for those guys out there that don't know, why don't you give us a little bit of an introduction?
Absolutely. So my company name is MAMMOTH XR, and the XR stands for Extended Reality. So what that means is sort of an umbrella of augmented reality, virtual reality, and mixed reality. So there's all we really do is create augmented reality, virtual reality content for companies that come to us and want to explore that world. 80% of the time. So we also work 20% of the time on passion projects. So that's MAMMOTH XR funded projects that we all decide what we want to work on, and then we'll spend 20% of our time working on that project. So whether that's a video game or some kind of experience, every Friday we take that day to work on that project that we want to work on.
Oh, that's so cool. So that really attributes to the culture that you're kind of trying to build here. How important has culture been for you guys? Yeah,
culture for us is probably the most important aspect of everything that we do. We've been working to try to build a company of the future, but that's sort of the term that we put on it just recently, just because we didn't really think about it until recently on the kind of culture that we're building. Yeah. So things that we do here a little bit differently than what the standard company would do is we have unlimited vacation. So you can take as much time as you want or need off. And with that flexibility, comes the responsibility to us to make sure that we're covered on the business side of things. So sure, take a month off, go to Mexico, but let's make sure our client work is covered and our passion work is covered. For us, there's no difference between our client work and our passion work. They take the same priority. So we just need to make sure that all those, everything that we need covered is covered on that front. But I don't mind if somebody wants to go work in Brazil for 2 months and they just email in and do whatever. So as long as the work is covered.
That's the most important part.
Absolutely, right? Yeah. So then, the other big things that we try to do is just make sure that this place is fun. So sometimes people will come in here and we'll be playing video games in the middle of the morning or the middle of the afternoon. So it may seem like we're not working, but for me, if we don't do those kind of things, we don't gel as a team, and we don't put out the products that we're super proud of and and things like that. So those kind of activities, they from the outside looking in, it may look like we're just goofing off or something, but for me, it's invaluable because it builds us as a team, and it makes us more capable of working together and having fun together.
Right, and like as a growing business, I think you start realizing that people are your greatest asset.
Absolutely.
Right? So being able to keep the team, build that culture, build that family, I get it.
Yeah.
Right, and talent in this city it can be scarce at times. So how did you get here? How did you get to this point in your career?
Yeah. So when I first started Mammoth, I worked in the video production world for about 15 years, just doing random things. So whether that was producing or I worked in master control. In the television side, that's inserting commercials between programming. I worked at hockey games, shooting video. I did a bunch of different stuff. But then I went into like project management and account management. But the one thing that stayed true throughout my career was my passion for technology and my passion for just being able to find out things that weren't easily accessible. So early on in my schooling days, I took broadcast journalism. And that wasn't because I wanted to ever be a journalist. The main core reason for that is I wanted to learn to be a good researcher. So I wanted to find out things about whether that's technology or whatever that normal people may not be able to find out. So my research skills really led me down the path to what led me to start Mammoth. So in my research, I discovered the resurgence of virtual reality back in 2013 or so with the Oculus Kickstarter. Once I found out about that, I was pretty gung-ho about virtual reality, and I'm like, this is really cool. But at that point in time, I'm like, but it's not ready. So then a new development kit came out, the Oculus Development Kit 2. And then when I got my hands on that and started playing around with it, I thought to myself, I'm like, okay, this is the future. This is the future of everything. I need to do this. So I went to my boss at the time and told him I quit.
Whoa, okay.
And then he's like, whoa, hold on. What are you talking about here? I'm like, I'm starting a virtual reality company. Just sounded crazy at the time. And then he's like, well, let me see this virtual reality that you're talking about. So I showed him. I'm like, this is the future. I guarantee it.
And this was in 2013?
This would have been in 2014.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And leading into 2015. And then, at that point, I demoed, and then he's like, well, if you're looking for a partner, I'd be interested. And I said, yeah, let's do it. So I started down the path. We created Mammoth, started with all the branding and all that kind of stuff. And then I just said, okay, well, I need to dedicate all my time to this. So went all in November of 2015, and then just started meeting with people and demoing nonstop, showing people this is virtual reality. Then at that point, it took 8 months before I made my first sale.
Okay, yeah.
So 8 months is a long time when I had a mortgage, I had to deal with things. So I'm just like, I was kind of nervous just because the fact that 8 months without a single sale, I'm like, wow, I might have made a big mistake here. Like maybe I overestimated the power of virtual reality. But then one sale turned into 2 sales, 2 sales turned into 10 sales, and it just kept on rolling and rolling. And then the virtual reality became much larger. Then as augmented reality rolled out, we started offering augmented reality services. And today we're 8 full-time people, profitable, growing, and beyond happy about coming into the office every day and working on cool projects.
That's awesome. I think finding fulfillment in what you do is probably one of the most important things. But aside from that, you said you went 8 months without a single sale.
Yeah.
What was most of the responses? Like, how were people reacting to it? Or like this emerging tech, like VR, no one had any idea that I could wear these giant goggles and be lost almost.
Yeah, so early on, it was so easy to get meetings with people. everyone's like, oh, virtual reality, absolutely. Like, let's see what you're talking about here. So I got lots of meetings very easily. I showed lots of people this technology, and after every single meeting, they're like, "Wow, this is amazing! It's so great." And then, and then when it comes down to saying, "Okay, well, let's do something," it was very hard. And what I realized, I was showing people this new technology that may be a little bit hard to grasp on how to use it. So I realized at that point in time that I had to really show people how they were going to use the technology and how it was going to benefit their business, and what the return on investment is. And it's still the challenge today. That's always been the challenge. We could show people augmented reality and virtual reality all day. Everyone walking out will be like, "Wow, this is incredible," but how do I use it? And what does it mean for my business?
Mm-hmm. And so maybe help me understand, because I'm kind of leaning on that side too. Like I'm a huge tech geek, but help me understand what the benefit is of VR for a business.
Yeah, so the benefit of augmented reality and virtual reality, it really depends on what your communication goals are. So early on, a lot of it has been marketing. So going to trade shows, sending out your annual reports and bringing them to life. Those kind of things are sort of the easiest ways to grasp. But now a lot of people are realizing that, okay, well, the training implications are way, way huger than they would have ever thought. So like Walmart has invested, millions of dollars into their VR training, and it's been working amazing for them. Mm-hmm. They just recently bought I think 17,000 VR headsets that are going out throughout their North American workplace. So it's one of those things that is like, it's just starting to grow and starting to blossom. So what we do is we really work with our clients to figure out what their current needs are and tailor custom solutions towards that. So whether that is, if they wanted to bring VR to a trade show to stand out, if they want to bring augmented reality to a trade show to stand out, if they want to bring their traditional paper products, an annual report, and bring them to life using augmented reality, we can do that. But we just need to sit down with our clients and work out a plan and work with them to find what the fit is for their company.
Okay, so and I've heard a lot you work within VR and AR. Now, if you look at it within the next, say, 5 years, which one's going to take off first, in your opinion?
Yeah, so in my opinion, I think in the short term, we're going to see augmented reality really blossom. It's already, it feels more accessible to a lot of people, and even with our clients, a lot of them are thinking like, wow, okay, I can see the work implications. Mm-hmm. If I have an augmented reality headset on, maybe I don't need a computer monitor, or maybe I don't need a screen, or maybe I can work within that. It's sort of been, with Minority Report and different movies, it's been one of those highlights that people have been waiting a long time for. And I think it's going to blossom just a little bit quicker than what we saw with virtual reality. But within that 10-year mark, I feel that we're going to see a merger with virtual reality and augmented reality, where you're just going to have these goggles or contacts or whatever, and they're going to work together seamlessly.
Before you know it, glasses like this.
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
It's just going to be it's just going to be a daily carry.
Yes.
Before you know it, and that's when it's really going to hit critical mass.
Yeah. Well, if you look at smartphone technology, 10 years ago, people still had flip phones, right? Like it was a regular thing. Now every single person has a smartphone in their pocket. And it's one of those life necessities. It'd be weird not to have one. Like, how do you function without one? Every year I go and disconnect for 5 days with no technology. And it seems like an easy task, but, it is hard when it's sort of your personal assistant that's always there.
I have a hard enough time going a couple hours without it, let alone 5 days.
Yeah.
So after, you take that 5-day break, how do you feel afterwards?
Yeah. For me, it's really a cleanse. Every single day, my world is revolving around technology, obviously. So with this company, we have VR headsets flying across the room all day long. We have the AR headset walking through here, and check this out. And we're looking at this stuff all day long, and we're on our computers and all that kind of stuff. I love technology, and I've dedicated my life and my career to it. But I still feel there's merit in stepping away from it.
Yeah. So how do you, so like looking at Calgary and looking at kind of our ecosystem here, how do you feel that we play in the bigger picture within the world of tech?
Yeah. So my belief, Calgary has the greatest potential. In my opinion, it has probably some of the highest potential in the North American market. We have so many talented people. We have so much innovation here. But with that being said, I feel a lot of it is lost on potentially investors here that may not understand or care to understand about what the potential of this different technologies are. Where if you go to Silicon Valley, they know this stuff. They know the risks that are going into this stuff, and they know what's going to work. But that's been my biggest challenge. That's all the rhetoric that I hear is everyone saying to fund startups in Calgary, you need to go to Silicon Valley. Mm-hmm. The only money to fund these kind of ideas, you need to go to Silicon Valley. And I'm a firm believer that we need to have Alberta money and Alberta ideas and Alberta innovation stay in Alberta. And the only true way to keep it in Alberta is to, use Alberta money to, get these startups to going and keeping the money here, keeping the jobs here, keeping the talent here. Right now, it's really, really easy for startups to just go somewhere else. We need to change that culture to have it be really, really easy to stay here. Mm-hmm. And until we get to that point, I feel like Calgary will always just be, known for the stampede, not known for our technology. But it is my goal to change that. And, as Mammoth grows and as I become more successful, I'm going to back my words with my money. I'm going to try to keep Alberta money in Alberta. I'm going to try to help startups get to where they need to go. And that's my commitment to Alberta. I strongly believe in it. And I hope, a lot of people say they do, but then they don't back it with, either their money or their time or, serious thought in here. Oil and gas startups are funded like crazy.
Yep.
But you don't see that same kind of funding going to, a lot of the new innovation and a lot of the new startups that have the potential here. And I know there's risk, but there's risk in everything. I'd rather take my risk in, groundbreaking technology than oil and gas. I know that, that's where I'd like to put my money on.
Yeah.
So
you really face this battle, trying to sell VR and AR to a relatively conservative crowd in Calgary. What tips do you or what have you kind of noticed amongst entrepreneurs that have made themselves successful in emerging technologies or in businesses surrounding emerging technologies?
Yeah, I can't really speak for anyone else. I know for our company, where we really found traction is when we started actually being authentic to ourselves and being vulnerable, like putting ourselves out there and just truly being ourselves. So early on, when I started Mammoth, I was still wearing a suit and going to these meetings, and it didn't feel natural to me. It didn't feel right. And then I'm like, if I don't feel natural in these kind of situations, and if I don't feel real with myself, then I'm not being real. So this is where we sort of changed our path and said, okay, well, let's be authentic to ourselves. And the first point of entry for that level is wear what we feel comfortable. I want to wear the same thing that I'd wear on the weekend, and I'm not changing my persona that way. So that's one step towards making it easier for us to truly be ourselves. Mm-hmm. So whether I'm meeting with $500 million company CEO, or if I'm meeting with the owner of a small business, I'll wear what I'm wearing. And if people can't accept that, then we really don't want to be doing business with them, because it's one of those things. It's like you have to be yourself. Mm-hmm. Beyond anything. Otherwise, the work that we do is not going to be ourselves. So the value for that is I don't even put a price tag on that, because being authentic and being vulnerable for us, that's where we need to be. So, and that's where we found success. Like once we fully grasped that, you know, that we can be authentic, then, you know, things started falling into place.
Yeah, and that's your brand, right? You're wearing your brand on your sleeve. And you watch and you're looking at millennials in the workplace, and you know, you're really noticing that there's no such thing as work-life balance anymore. It's just kind of, it's life. You have to find fulfillment in what you do. But on that note, well, actually on a separate note, you look at kind of like the oil and gas sector right now. You know, I don't think it's any secret, but it's not doing too hot, to say the least. What do you think is the first step for us to break out of those roots?
Yeah, like, you know, really the first step is to, you know, oil and gas has been the bread and butter of Alberta for a very long time. It still is. We just have to accept that cannot last forever, and be real about it. Like, you could say that to somebody, but then they'll be like, no, they'll fight back. But it's like, it can't last forever. It's a matter of fact. But then, like, and we also can't be surprised when we go into, like, when each barrel drops down to a price that's unsustainable. It's like, we can't be sore about losing all these jobs to it. We need to find a way to have, you know, a balanced and sustainable economy. I don't think oil and gas is the balanced, sustainable economy we need. I honestly believe technology is honestly the best way to go. Like, you know, there's a lot of risk in technology, and there'll be a lot of losers. There always has been, but that's where Silicon Valley, they take the high risk, they get their high rewards. It's always going to be that way, you know. But I feel like we honestly have some of the best talent in the world. I also feel like we honestly lose the best talent in the world to other provinces or the U.S. or, you know, Silicon Valley. We lose a lot of them.
So is there anything that we can do, you know, whether it's a small business, a corporation, or even just myself, that we can do to play our part in keeping talent here?
Yeah, like, I think there needs to be a culture shift. Like, there needs to be, you know, the reason Silicon Valley startups do well is, you know, a lot of the people working in those industries, they have flexibility. They have the culture within those organizations to do the things that they want. But it's also, they do get paid well, and you know, for us, it's always been a challenge because you know, the market is tough, and I want to pay every single person in this room, you know, $150,000 a year. Eventually, hopefully, I get there, but you know, the economy doesn't work that way. But what I can do is I could try to make this the best place to work possible, and I'm striving to do that every single day. It's always baby steps, and it's always, you know, let's see if this works or let's see if that works. But it needs to be constantly looked at, and you need to take priority to do that. The other thing is just, you know, putting value on keeping Alberta money in Alberta. Like, you know, some people, it's not always all about the money. If you can give them something very meaningful to work on, and we try to bring in the most meaningful projects that we are aligned with, that is more valuable than money a lot of the time. So, you know, don't think that just because, they worked in oil and gas, they made $150,000 a year, they may be looking for something a little bit more meaningful, and that's what I try to do. And you know, that's what I'm hoping that that will help Alberta a little bit more.
Yeah, you know, we went to this career fair. This was in 2017. We went to this career fair, and they surveyed the audience. So it's for technical professionals, and they asked them how long you've been unemployed. And you know, for the most part, most people were unemployed for 2+ years. These very technical people, very skilled people, and what we found was that there was a lack of willingness to learn, willingness to take a step back and kind of say, okay, like, let me adapt like one of these let me learn like a new applicable skill like that is going to be relevant to these emerging technologies. So it's nice to see that you are trying to support that and trying to support that within our city. So what would you say, What would you say is the number one tip that you have for someone who's starting out in business, starting to get off the ground?
Yeah. The biggest thing I could say is never give up. Like, it would have been fairly easy for me to give up after the first 8 months without making a sale. If I'm being honest, I thought about it, right? Like, I thought about it. I'm like, I made a mistake. Like, I don't know what I'm doing here. Like, this is, I wasn't a business person. I didn't know what I was doing. But one thing that never faltered is my passion and belief in the technology. I'm like, this is going to take off. Someone's going to be there, and I want to be that person, and I believe in this. I honestly believe in this. And if you're truly passionate about something, people see that, right? People look through the BS and they see that, okay, well, this person is really passionate about it. There has to be a reason.
Yeah.
So that's the big thing. And never, when it comes to the people that work with you, you can't put a price on that. Like, the team that we have, for me, we built the most amazing team that has ever been built. We're a super group in my eyes.
Yeah.
And I couldn't put a price on that. And that's one of the major things. Just believe in your people, be passionate about what you do, and be authentic. Like, being authentic, I can't stress that enough.
That's so important. It's probably one of the lessons. Not a hard lesson, but it was difficult to find out how do you define authenticity for yourself.
Yeah.
Right, and it's just it's ultimately just a high level of self-awareness.
Yeah.
That's the key. So let's play a case study. So let's say I've been in business for 10 plus years. I have a steady cash flow. How can I start thinking about applying these emerging technologies such as AR and VR into my business?
Absolutely. So depending on your business, there's a million different things that could potentially help it. It's tough to say what that secret formula would be to help your business, but you have to look at how your current customers or who you're supplying your services to, how they're using your business, and then just start thinking of different applications that could potentially make their lives easier. So that's really where we could step in is a lot of organizations come and reach out to us and they don't know how to use AR and VR. They come to us and just say, this is what we do. How can you help change it? And then that's where we start getting creative. So that's where we see all this cool technology and connect the dots.
Yeah.
So a lot of people will see something really cool in augmented reality or something cool in virtual reality. And then they'll be like, that's cool, but it's just like a game or video game or something like that.
Yeah.
For us, we see something cool in augmented reality and virtual reality, and then we're like, wow, this can change somebody's business. This can change them like this to this and this. So we're really the connectors. So for any business looking to get into the space, there's a million different ideas and applications that AR and VR can take you down. But depending on what your challenges are, that's where we like to come in and consult and say, hey, this is how it can help you. This is how this can change your business.
Actually, I'll let you free flow. Do you have any last words that you would like to say to people? Take your time.
Yeah, I don't know. It's been such a journey for Mammoth. For me, I like to think of what is happening right now as some of the best years of my life. I'm going to look back on this time right now and think, wow, those were the golden years. Those were the years that we were doing meaningful work. We were helping people. We were changing lives, and that's excites me. And I do want to only go up from here, and I feel like the projects that we're doing today and the projects that are coming up in the future are going to be so meaningful and so amazing. And the one big thing that I'm so thankful for is that I can do it all at home. I can do it at Calgary. I could do it where people early on told me there's no way that you could start a virtual reality company in this economy, in this part of the country. It's like, what are you even thinking about starting this in Calgary? Where, you know, I'm like, no, we can do it, and we did do it. And we're going to continue to grow, and that's the big thing.
So one last thing, if you were to start your own support group for entrepreneurs and tech entrepreneurs, how would you do things differently than what we currently have in the ecosystem?
Yeah, like for me, what I found is all the startups are friendly with each other, but it feels like there's a sort of a risk adversity sort of thing where they don't want to share too much, which I get, but there needs to be like I would say the biggest thing is maybe there's some support that can go through just telling experiences like this, like, you know, what you're doing right now, that could be helpful. Like, I'll watch whomever you're going to go talk to and see if I can pick apart and see if there's anything that I can take from it. You know, there are a lot of organizations that help entrepreneurs. There's a lot of organizations that help startups. But the biggest thing, like for me, I just don't want to see these organizations saying, go where the money is, which is not here. If I could do anything to help that's what I want to do. But, you know, it's sort of, for me, if someone says, go where the money is, but that's not here, it's in Silicon Valley, it's sort of, for me, that's like, I don't believe in that. The money can be here. You know, for us starting Mammoth, people didn't believe there's money here for companies to even start buying these services. I didn't believe that at that time. I still don't believe it. I honestly believe there is so much potential here. We're just not utilizing it. So,
Awesome. Matt, thank you for coming here.
Thank you.
Or actually, thanks for having us.